Now you're talking about the vacuum of the gravity, right?
0 point of gravity, yeah.
Well, I was talking about the gravitational field in the sense, in the pure general relativistic sense, where what we mean by gravitational field is curvature of space-time.
All right, well now, doesn't the gravity rely on the vector of the mass, the frequency of the mass to create a vacuum?
How about restating that? You went by me.
No. Well, I was going to say on the gravity, don't we rely on the vector of the frequency of the mass to create the vacuum?
No. The vacuum is considered to be a separate state.
Well, the vacuum has to be created by the mass.
No. It's the other way around. In general relativity, the only thing that mass really is, fundamentally, is a kink or a curvature in space-time, and you can identify space-time with vacuum.
Well, I'm trying to say the mass creates a vacuum in the time-space frequency related to the mass itself.
No, the mass does not create the vacuum. As a matter of fact, the best theories of the universe allow the vacuum to assume excited states all by itself and pump itself up and then to explode, so to speak, as it decays back down to the ground state. And that's what is about the best theory we've had right now on how the whole thing with the mass and everything in it got going.
Well, now, wouldn't you have to have the frequency of the vacuum?
No, the vacuum has every frequency in it you can name.
Yeah, but the frequency of the mass that's created within the vacuum itself.
Are you talking about the virtual mass?
Yes.
Virtual particles?
Yes.
Well, there are virtual photons, virtual particles, and virtual everything else.
Each one has its own frequency.
Hey, gentlemen, I have a virtual frequency that I've got to do right now. if you don't mind, I'm Bill Jenkins. It's Open Mind. Mark, and we'll take a break. Dave, I want you to wrap up your questions to Tom real fast because we're running short of time.
Bill,
I want you to.
Let me finish the answer to that last question. I didn't finish it. Dave, I think what you're asking is correct in this fashion. Scalar-wise, I regard the mass per se, any kind of mass, as a standing scalar wave, a standing wave in vacuum. That's locked in, trapped by the spin of a particle, for example.
That's true, but it still has to have the physical mass.
That's correct. The mass itself is the standing wave. The inertia and all that's due to that. Now, in the sense that you give a structure to that mass, for example, if it's a proton, and I consider it to be made of partons and so forth, then it's a complex of trapped scalar resonances.
That's right, but now you have to figure the vector of the mass to arrive at the frequency.
30 seconds, guys.
No, it's the other way around. We figure the mass from the fact of the amplitude of that complex or that single standing wave. And in fact, we can decrease the mass and inertia, or we can increase it by increasing the scalar resonance.
That's absolutely right. Now, listen, guys, I know, Dave, we haven't quite got your question answered here. Well, we're going to take a little break. If you want to hang on the phone, it's perfectly all right with me, okay?
All right, I'll stick around.
All right, stick around.
All right.
Radionics devices, bioenergetics devices, things that are going to change your world and mine. And let's continue on with, I believe, Dave, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, Dave, let's finish this matter about mass and vacuum that you and Tom were talking about.
Are you there, Tom?
Yes.
All right, now, maybe I was a little bit wrong in what I said. What I was trying to get over is that the mass in molecular physics requires a frequency and the vector to create the vacuum. Now, without the vacuum, the molecular physics wouldn't hold true. Due to the fact that the molecular structure would disintegrate.
Well, that's certainly true that without the vacuum you wouldn't have a physical universe at all, because everything's made of vacuum, matter, everything else.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
Exactly right.
Right. All right. Now, one thing I don't understand, how to do away with the vacuum.
You can't do away with it. The vacuum is at a very high stress level.
Yes, I know it is.
And what you can do is change or pattern that stress. You can make the direction in which you oscillate waves of stress up and down, just like a sound wave in the ocean or something.
That's right.
And you can make directional patterns and so forth. But you see, given the ability to do that, we've done what is called polarizing the vacuum. And if you can do that, you can do some rather magnificent things.
Yeah, but if we could break down the molecular structure, the vacuum cease to exist.
So far as I know, I don't. You know, with what we're talking about, the electromagnetics, we certainly don't have the power to do that. The kinds of things they're talking about when they say the vacuum reached this super excited state and then decayed, exploded, and so forth to create the universe as we know it. And that kind of a theory, the kinds of energies and the kinds of things they're talking about are so far beyond the kinds of energies we're using that, you know, we're not in that ballgame at all. So I really don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, well, I was working on that type of a theory and trying to work out. I misplaced a lot of my papers, and I don't know where they are. I haven't found them. But I had worked this idea out into a feasible equation, and I misplaced my papers, and I can't remember the exact theory now.
Well, there you are.
Okay.
All I can say is more and more of the vacuum in modern physics is assuming ever more importance every day. That's certainly true.
That's very true.
All right, does that help you, Dave?
Yeah, it does a lot, Tom, and Bill, and I thank you very much, and I thank you, Tom, and I thank you, John.
Well, thank you, Dave, for tuning in.
Sure thing. Bye-bye.
Glad to have you aboard.
Okay.
We're getting some good questions here tonight, guys, and let's see what Edson has on his mind.
Good evening, everybody.
How are you?
How are you? First, a couple of comments about Tesla. As you know, I'm always writing about Tesla. First, that the late Orson Welles' last movie was The Secret of Nikola Tesla, but that's hardly mentioned in the tributes to that great personality.
The movie did not get seen by too many people.
No, and it's kind of hard to even find a copy that's still in America.
It did not say good things about J.P. Morgan and Wall Street.
No, not at all.
I've watched the movie 100 times.
Well, maybe they'll bring it back and show it in some art theater in L.A. I hope they do. Also, if any of your listeners know anything about the Tesla Pierce Arrow car that's supposed to operate on free energy.
It's here in Southern California somewhere, but we can't find it.
Yeah, well, perhaps somebody can contact you, and then we can get in touch with you, because Nick Basura, as you know, he's a great Tesla fan, and I are trying to track down what happened to this Pierce Arrow. Still around someplace. Now, I worked for several years with the late Dr. Albert Roy Davis, and he wrote a book, Magnetism and Its Effects on the Living System. And one of the chapters in this book has to do with the gravitational effect, that is, magnetic effect on weight, gravitational weight. And I wonder if this has to do with your generator, if it